Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. We haven't done a bonsai tour for a while, and I have been moving stuff around quite a bit. So the staging that was here is now, well, not here. It was never destined to stay there, it just had to be put there out the way. So we'll start up the back here. The Dishojo is still here on the table, and unfortunately I still need to keep this plant. I can probably put it to one side so that I can see it better. But the good thing about this is it hasn't totally lost its shape this year, because I did all that delicate pinching at the beginning of the season. Every single embryo growth was pinched off, and it stopped the long extensions. So there's still a fair bit of shape to it, even though we're in, mid-July now. So anyway, that stays on the table at the moment. That will get a feature stand one day, just for itself. It deserves a display on its own. And then coming back round here, I've used these. Can you get out from under my feet? That would be good. Wherever he is, he's in the way. So I've used some of these black tables as highlight display stands at the moment, and I may end up still using some of those. But I've got my Scots Pine here. We're going to have to do some work on that soon. The wiring needs coming off, and when the wire's off, I'll be able to see what retains its shape, what bits are sticking out that can come off, and all that sort of stuff. The pads are dense enough now that removing a few things that destroy the outline won't do it any harm. There's enough there now. My white pine didn't grow well this year, my own fault. I decided to take all the flower buds off, and in doing so I think I've stopped the new growths pushing on as well as they might have done. So we might have to wait for growth extensions next year. Beech has grown well, that's doing fine. And then here we've just got a couple of things that didn't fit anywhere else for now, that don't mind the sun, basically. There's my little forest, what is that, false larch, whatever that is, I've forgotten now. And then the other two are black pines. And then over here I've moved the staging that was out there to here. So this is now here. It's got some of my orchids that spend the summer outside on the bottom shelf, because I don't want them in full sun for any length of time. So what's above actually shades them. And then there's the little blackthorn, lost 2, so out of the 6 I've only got 4 left. But I'm not sure I'm even going to keep them and bother with them. And then up on here we've got a few. We've got my hornbeam, this little juniper, which we did some work on a while ago. It's got my new copper beech, I haven't had that long. Got my trident maple sitting up there with the air layer in full sun, but it does have the reflective foil on the, where the moss is, basically. And this is my Fuji cherry. And then behind that is a collected Scots pine that's just been allowed to grow this year, so it's out of shape. It's had nothing done with it. And then I've got this dwarf fuchsia that has these tiny little flowers on. I was given this as a plant to put in the garden, but it could make a bonsai. As yet, undecided. And then this is the first of my finished staging. Again in the black. I'm going to maintain the black feature. I like the way that the wood grain shows through and the knots and everything, so it's not like jet black shiny gloss paint or anything like that. So I've got a few on there. I've got my 2 sister maples. They're looking quite nice now. This, quite honestly, is a nice tree. It's got good branch position, it's got some gentle form to the trunk, which is good for a maple. Twisty turny maples tied in knots don't actually look that good. So it represents a tree quite well, and it's got gorgeous bark on it. It's got lovely grain, gnarly bark. And then the other one has green patches on it. Not quite such a good branch structure, but not bad. And then we've got my little Japanese larch here, and this thing, I've forgotten what that was. If you look back through my videos, there's one called Finding the Tree in the Bush, or There's a Tree in the Bush or something or other, because it was nursery stock. And then we've got my recently pruned azalea on the end. Now the top of this staging, the two pieces, I've got another one of these indoors exactly the same as that, but instead of having wooden legs, it's going to go on those bricks. I'll have 4 piles of bricks to stand the top on. Once I've decided where that's going to go, which is dependent on some heavy duty work in the garden being finished, otherwise it will just be in the way, then I will have another set of staging that looks similar to that as far as the top is concerned, at which point we can spread the trees out. I've got no plans on getting loads more trees or anything. I just want what I've got to have its own space around it so that it can be seen without being cluttered. So getting that last lot of staging should be good. And then up in the corner there we've got those 3 large pieces of 4x4, and I may turn those into individual one tree staging. So just put a platform on the top, get some decking or something like that, and make a top for them. The hardest bit is actually getting some legs so that they don't flip and fall over. But the big one in the middle could actually be cut in half and make 2 stands, and the other 2 could make, well, they could make another 2 possibly, but I don't need that many. But some work to be done there for the future. That's not an immediate requirement, so we won't be doing that anytime soon. But to put the staging that looks like that top on top of 5 piles of bricks, I only want to do it once. I don't want to do 5 piles of bricks and then have to move them. I want to put them where they're going to stay for the foreseeable future, which is why that's on hold at the moment. I've got some heavy duty work in the garden to do. All that bamboo has got to be cut right back, and this wisteria has got to be cut right back, and that work needs space in the garden, so I don't want to start cluttering it up with extra bonsai stuff. But I do like the black. I do think it sets the trees off, and quite honestly it helps set the pots off as well. So anyway, we will have another one of those in the not too distant future. There is another one of these to be built, but I'm not sure I need it now. It might be a bit too much. You know, the garden's only so big, and we do need to walk around it. That remains to be seen, but I do have another one of those out in the carport that hasn't even been put together yet or stained or anything. I don't know what to do with that at the moment. We shall see. But the second one of those will be available soon, as soon as I can put it in its permanent position, or semi-permanent, I suppose. Right, quick tour. See you next time. Bye for now.